So I'm going to give them their opportunity to find their way through resistance. That's why I really wasn't going to talk about this, but it really it kind of works for what we're working on. The several different kinds of training methods. Okay, if you look at what we're doing, especially yesterday with bending to relaxation, we're putting them in a bind and allowing them to make a conscious choice to find relaxation. Now that's learned. They have to learn how to find that relaxation. Keep going, yeah. You were right. They have to go to find that relaxation. Now, we can add pressure, or we can take pressure away. We can look at, how do we look at that? Okay, so positive reinforcement. What does everybody think positive reinforcement is? Most people, we think, oh, well, that's rubbing, petting, that's positive. No. Think of it, let's break it down very, very, very simplistically. Positive reinforcement is when we add something. Negative reinforcement is when we take something away. So is giving your horse a cookie positive reinforcement? It can be. It can be. So when you were bending and asking your horse to find relaxation, when you release the bend, you're taking away, so that's a negative reinforcement. We're removing the bend. Okay? So positive reinforcement, I'm adding pressure. I'm adding pressure. I'm adding pressure. Okay? The stick doesn't cause him to move away. The stick gets more of what I'm asking for. Okay? The stick gets more, so that's positive. I'm adding to it. Okay? So we have to face our challenges. We need our horse to face their challenges. We have to have them yield the hindquarters. I know everybody talks about, oh, all they did is yield the hindquarters. Why is that? Why do so many people talk about yielding the hindquarters? This is where they hold their emotions, and this is where the athletic ability comes from. The emotions are held in the hind end, and the athletic ability is held in the front feet. Great horse trainers talk about training the horse from the back forward. If we gain control over the hind end, we gain control over their emotions, we can have our horse be much more relaxed and confident and build and build and build on our relationship. So, why do most people coming into this or starting learning how to train their horse only worry about steering in the front end? Because that's what works best for us. Okay, we have two reins. We think we have control. We get in a car, we have a steering wheel, we gain control, we steer it, and when we pull the horse's head left and pull it right, it seems to kind of follow us and go along with us. Okay? But when our horse is emotionally distraught or not with us, they cannot yield their hindquarters and step over and relax. And let's see if I can get him to step over this way. Almost. Can you step over and yield your hindquarters to me this way? There it goes. Very good. We can find more success faster by facing what we have trouble with and struggle through it. There's no growth without being uncomfortable, especially where we are as adults, because we're autonomous. We make our own decisions. We work to make a world that is very comfortable for us, but there's no growth in that. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. Zig Ziglar says that. Sounds very simple until you're faced with your fear. And why are we talking about facing our fears? because that's what we have to do with our horse. We have to have our horse face their fears. If we do not, I didn't bring my, oh crap, oh well. I didn't bring my bridle. That's okay. I'll just tie him up over. I'll just tie his lead rope up. If we allow our horse to turn away from the scary thing and what's scaring them, then they'll use their hind end to run away from it, because that's their first line of defense, is using their hind end. Let me do it this way. No, I want to do it this way. But I think Rush is ready to get on. I don't think he's overreactive at this point. Come on, old man. Over here. When we do our groundwork clinics or the Liberty, we'll teach you how to get him to come pick you up. So now I'm climbing on him. I'm going to make all my checks. Now I didn't stand there and wait. I'm going to make all of my checks. Can I bend him? Is he going to stand and relax and allow me to bend him? Yep. That was very nice. And I hate y'all missed that. I'm going to see if I can get that again. There's ways that are bending. Do you notice he's not putting in a lot of effort to the left today? So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to make a mental note of that. I need to work on that. Let me come over here again where you can see what he just did. But I need to make a mental note on. If I bend him, see how I brought his head in and down and to his shoulder? That was a good bend. Let's see what he does on this side. Nah, not so much. So I need to work on that. I'm not going to force him into it yet. I'm just going to know that that's what he's struggling with today, is a bend to the left. Now there's outside stuff going on, so he's wanting to move. So I'm not gonna go off yet. I'm not gonna go right off yet, because I'm going to struggle with this. If I don't fix this now, I'm gonna have to work on it later. So yesterday, which side did I bend to get him to relax first? Does anybody remember? Okay, you have to be observant.
He was to the right, correct?
I bent him to the right. Horsemanship is about being observant. I guess when I was kind of, where I picked that up from was I spent 3 years on the back of a hay wagon twice a day feeding 200 head of horses. I got to watch the interaction of the herd. Man, it was cool. At the time, I didn't have anything else better to do but to watch them, and at the time I was like, this sucks. But I was living the cowboy life, you know. But I'm like, damn, I'm out here freezing rain, snow, whatever the weather. And we just took it as a chore, but it was my only way to figure out how to make my chore, you know, a little more, let's say, intellectually prosperous, was to watch the interaction of the herd. So, being observant will go extremely, it'll help you on your quest to go forward in your horsemanship journey. Now adopt, and I've said this 100 times, adopt the mantra of, oh, well, that's interesting. So when I bent Rush to the right, his head came in and down, there it goes. That's very good. That's very interesting. Oh, very good. What did I do to fix that? I waited. But I was also very observant to recognize that he was not balanced side to side. Very good. So, this clinic's about trail riding. How many people have trouble with your horse trying to go too fast and crowd the other horse from behind? Yeah. Well, we'll play a little game today that'll help everybody. How many people have trouble with a horse kind of wanting to go slow and not catch up or go... Everybody usually has a horse that goes too fast. Well, if you have a horse that's going too slow, this can help you. If you're having a horse that's running up somebody else's butt, because we're talking about trail riding, this can help you. And it only takes a couple times. Now, control of speed and gait. In every gait, we should have 3 speeds. And Renee and I were talking about, okay, walking horses have a naturally longer stride. Well, if you look at her and I next to each other, I have a naturally longer stride. But I can learn how to control my length of stride. Attaboy. Notice the little things. Be in tune with your horse. When they relax, reward that. Okay? I don't know if y'all heard him, but he blew out, so I'm going to reward it for him. And I'm not going to pet him to try to get him to relax. I'm going to reward him when he does. He made the conscious choice. So, in practicing, when you're walking along or out on the trail, we should be able to have 3 speeds in each gait. We should be able to have a slow walk, medium walk, and a fast walk. Same thing, we should be able to have a slow jog, a medium jog, and a fast trot. We should be able to have a lope, a canter, and a dead-ass run. But how do we get that? Well, I'm going to put this aside for the time being. Notice my sword. I will carry it as a sword. So, if my horse is not going as fast as I want, kicking... Do you ever see a jockey? Have you ever watched a thoroughbred race and seen a jockey kick a horse to get him to go faster?
Kentucky Derby.
At the Kentucky Derby? No. And barrel racers kill me. They're kicking and kicking and kicking their horse. Next time you want to go on a walk or jog or run, have your best friend run along and hit you in the rib cage and see how much faster you can run. We're just kicking the air right out of their ribs. Jockeys get their feet up away from their ribs so they don't impinge their airflow. So if I want to speed up, okay, I'm going to, put life into my body. If I want to stop, I'm going to take the life out of my body. So sitting is a neutral position. I want to just sit. But if I want to go somewhere, I'm going to pick my energy up. And if my horse doesn't go, I'm going to say, I'm going to put a little more energy in. Can you go? Attaboy.
You're whacking yourself.
I'm whacking myself. Did anybody see me whack my horse? No. But what I want you to see is for the right hind to move forward, the rib cage has to move out of the way. For the left hind to move forward, the rib cage has to swing out of the way. So I can pick up my horse's speed and gait by moving with his rib cage swinging back and forth, and I can slow the gait down by blocking the rib cage from moving back and forth. I think Melissa's rode by. I saw a dog. So I should be able to speed the walk up by moving with the rib cage. And I should be able to slow the walk down by slowing down my move with the rib cage. Yes? Uh-huh. Okay. Horse's rib cage. for the right hind foot to come forward, it has to move this way. And here's your little leg over here, right? So for this leg to come forward, the rib cage moves over here and it comes forward. Now your leg is on his rib cage here. I can push it so I can block the forward motion of that rib cage of this leg. So if the rib cage has to move this far over for the leg to come through, if I block it, now it can only move here. Because it can't come forward. So I can take, and in my swing, we have to release from here and be able to move our hips forward, left, right with our horse. We have to be able to move our hips forward and back. My hips. I'm moving my hips with his rib cage. Okay? So as the rib cage swings, I move my hips with the rib cage. So if I quit moving my hips, did you see him slow down? Now I'll start swinging my rib cage with him. I can kind of help him move forward. Now I swung before he did. You see him kind of get a little funny in his stride. Okay? So if you're just sitting here like this and you're locked down, okay, let me get going again. Where's his head going? If I sit here and go like this, and I just lock, where's his head's going to come up here in a minute? It did a second ago. I did it too quick. Okay? I don't allow stopping and pooping. Okay? So you do in your body what you want your horse to do in theirs. So I can control the length of stride. So if I'm on a trail ride and I want my horse to speed up a little bit, I'm going to put a little effort in. And if I want my horse to slow down a little bit, I'm going to stop moving with them and block their forward motion. Then I'm also going to pick this rein up and help and support them. If you ride your horse from your hands, that's when you lose control of the rest of the body. You only have control of that nose, and you lose control of the mind. You lose control of the mind, the rest of the body's going somewhere else. We have more contact from here down with our horse than we have through here. I have very little contact here. This is a signal. I'm getting ready to do something. You cannot force anything through here. This is why people get run off with. It's why people can't get over, around, or through obstacles. Okay? But from having trouble getting my horse to go, this is easy to carry. Cowboys carried them all. They're called quirts. The way they didn't have to use their spurs to get a horse to go. They could ask, slow down. Okay? Now, how does this come in handy? Well, this comes in real handy. And this is what we're all going to work on today. So when you go out on the trail, everybody's going to have a stick of some sort. And if you're out on a trail ride and somebody's having a problem, you can always stop and pick up a limb, a branch, a stick, or something. So what we're going to do is, as you're riding along, this will be neutral, okay? And you can play with your stick to see what you can get done to support your riding and your lack of using reins. If I want to go, because he's going to give me a yes response, because he's looking that way. Now I need you to look back that way. If I want to go to the right, I can say, hey, can you go to the right? And I can kind of support him here, okay? But this is neutral. I'm going to hold my stick kind of here. And when, let's say Erin's horse is coming up too fast and she's trying to slow him down, and she says, Joe, I need help. I'm going to say, okay. You're going to put rhythmic energy, and if they run into it, let them run into it and whack them on the nose. Well, after about the second or third time, your Erin's horse is going to pay attention and not running up on Rush's butt.
Yeah, and learn to rate himself.
He's going to learn to rate himself. Okay? Now, you make a game out of it and say, okay, here I come, but you have to tell the person in front of you that you need help. Don't just help because you think they need help. Wait till they ask you that they need help. Okay? Now, the person waving the stick, this can get a little addicting. It can get a little too much fun, so don't have too much fun with it. And be judicious. But first, before you do that, you have to get your horse comfortable with you holding the stick, and you have to get comfortable holding the reins in one hand. This is why I kind of told you this would be a good day to do that. To where there was a game plan. So if you're having struggles with split reins or working on a loop rein will work good. So now what I'll do is when I take my stick, notice what I did with my loop reins. Okay, I picked them up, I figured out where my hand was going to be, then I kind of crisscrossed them here. Let me get that loop out. So that so now I can shorten my reins up. Now I can pick up. Now notice I'm not neck reining, I'm picking up here, and I'm going to pick up here. But my legs are what's going to turn my horse if I need to. Okay, but get very comfortable using your stick around your horse. Get your horse good with it, because if your horse isn't ready for it, you could have a wreck. So it's always better to prepare in a controlled environment when you have the opportunity to, before you go out and have to be life flighted because you realize your horse isn't comfortable with the stick. But get used to it, get them used to it on the ground, get up on their back, desensitized to everything. Now, when you're desensitizing to the stick, what are we looking for? We're looking for them to relax to it, not just go to the vagus mode and freeze. Really recognize, be observant of what the difference is between that stop and freeze and make it go away. Now, everybody knows not everybody, but most people know the difference between tough and wimpy. Tough is a very stoic kind of what's in it for me kind of guy. He's more of an introvert. Introverted horses access the freeze mode. It doesn't exist for me, or if I don't recognize, if I don't see it's there, maybe it'll go away. More so than an extrovert. Now, Rush is kind of extroverted, isn't he? Not as much as Wimpy, but he's interested in grabbing the stick and doing something with it instead of not acknowledging it exists. Okay? So the horse that acknowledges the problem will overcome it quicker than the horse that looks away from it or doesn't want to acknowledge it. So the same thing when we run on a scary object. That's why the bend is so important, because if Amy, you're the scary object, get up and run across here. Run, go. Yeah, you look fit enough to run. Run.
Trot. You can
Trot. So the scary object, I have to keep my horse facing. Yeah, that's good. So if I'm going along and all of a sudden Amy's afraid, I have to bend and face it. The only way you can overcome your fear is by facing it. Now, if Amy was the scary object, and poor Jan, she knows this. You've had your little horse, Gunner. Once he's turned, he's gone, isn't he? So now we have to struggle and fight to overcome. Okay? So the bend and relax is so important. It's very important. So that's why the bend. Face your fears and overcome them. You're not very scary, so that's okay. Yeah. Okay. So, we didn't go as long today, but go get your horses. How many people saddled your horse and tied them in the stall today? All right. Are you seeing a difference? Let's ask you, be observant, see what the difference, if you notice a difference in them today and how they respond and what they do and how you interact with them, what difference you notice. Be observant about that. Get your sticks and strings and come in and start getting them relaxed to it, and we're going to do a little stick riding before we go out on the trail, yeah.
You talked about using the stick to discourage other horses. In what applications can you use it with your own horse as you're riding?
We'll go over that later, but yeah, you can, I mean, hey, if I want to slow down and stop, I can put a little rhythmic energy in and have him back up. I can put rhythmic energy in here and have him turn. But this is to help other people from running up on your butt today, so that's what we're going to focus on. That's a whole nother clinic.
Good job, y'all.